the Madman! Welcome to a special edition of Custom Hearthstone Cards. Waxstabber is a rogue 1-mana weapon, 2/2, can only attack undamaged characters. A design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. So I've thought about what a 2/2 weapon needs to cost. You have some precedents in this. You have like 2/3 weapons on 2 that are too weak. You have 2 attack weapons on 1 mana with severe drawbacks. And this seems about the right point. It's a 1 mana 2/2 for rogue. It can only attack undamaged characters, which is in flavor for rogue. Simple, elegant, albeit a little boring, but seems like a decent enough card. Perhaps with better flavor, I would have given it design 5. I'm aware that you're going for Backstabber, but Waxstabber, Walking Tank. It's a priest 2 mana 2/3 mech. Taunt. Walking Tank can't be resurrected. Design 2 stars, balance 4 stars. So what's the point, you might ask, when you look at the card? And really, that is a major design problem. The point is resurrect decks don't want to put low-cost minions because they suck to get randomly resurrected. So the point of Walking Tank is to put it into your control resurrect deck as a minion that you can play proactively on turn 2 and then, not resurrect later. Okay, that's very niche is the problem, and that's some points off for design. The other problem is, why can't this Walking Tank be resurrected? You might argue, oh, well, it's a mech. Of course mechs can't be resurrected, but every other mech in the game can be resurrected, so why not this one? So there's a little bit of a disconnect in design there. In terms of balance, I think the card is so weak that it wouldn't even fit into a resurrect deck, because a 2 mana 2/3 is really a minor speed bump. Maybe you make it a 3 mana 3/4 with taunt instead. But again, the bigger problem is that this is a very, very small design space. That's a major problem of creating a card that fits into one archetype so specifically, otherwise it's boring. Muradin Bronzebeard, warrior 7 mana 5/4. Battlecry, brawl. If your deck has no duplicates, win the brawl. That's so insane, I don't even know what to say. And we saw this in an adventure before too. Design 4 stars, balance 1 star. So it's not without precedent, but the fact that they're treasures or super OP cards should have been a hint that this card is ridiculously overpowered. It's a Twisting Nether for 7 mana, plus you get a 5/4 into play. That's absolutely insane. Put another way, it's a Deathwing, except you don't discard your hand. So this card is so ludicrously imbalanced that I think that there was a serious problem in terms of understanding the power level of this. I'm not entirely sure if this card, even as a 5/4, would be fair at 10 mana, but it should be priced at 10 mana, and then it should be seen on whether or not it's still fair. Like, even just looking at the base mana cost, generally it's not that crazy to put a throwaway card in and then cast Brawl afterwards. And in this case, it would be like combining a throwaway card and then casting a normal 5 mana Brawl. And your throwaway card is a 2 mana 5/4, which is insane, by the way. Even at the 10 mana cost, like a control warrior, which doesn't have duplicates, may still run it just because it's so powerful. Joelnar Fishflinger, a shaman legendary, 3 mana 3/2. Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, replace your hero power with Gone Fishin'. Gone Fishin' is a passive where each turn, at the beginning of your turn, you're presented with the ability to either draw the lowest cost card in your deck or draw the highest cost card in your deck. And that is absolutely ludicrous. Design 1 star, balance 1 star. There is no way that, I want to say it for any price, but sure, there's a price where in theory it would be fair, but the idea of just being able to control your draw every single turn is inherently a bad one, which is why the design is 1.
The idea of just being able to control your draw every single turn is inherently a bad one, which is why the design is 1.
There is almost no price high enough for infinite tutoring. And that's infinite tutoring. Once you get to the high costs, part of the game, you're always going to want to draw the high end of your deck, pretty much. Creates really simple play where your turn is just, oh yeah, I'm just going to draw the high card and I'm just going to play it. And that's not really interesting for either player. Balance is a 1 because the card is really imbalanced. I would pay a lot of mana to be able to draw the highest card of my deck every single turn. And, you know, if it was early in the game, you could still play this and then just draw the low cost. So it's even more unfair than just simply drawing the highest cost card of your deck every turn. Special Forces. Paladin 6 mana spell. Summon 4 1/1 Silverhand recruits. Cast a random 1 cost Paladin spell on each. Design 2 stars. And balance 3 stars. I reviewed the 1 cost Paladin spells that exist. There's actually not very many that you can target onto Silverhand recruits. Sand Breath is the best one, so sometimes you get a 2/3 Silverhand recruit along with your other 3 1/1s, but the other buffs aren't really that important. That is a lot of RNG on whether or not your Silverhand recruits are insane. Like, sometimes they get buffs, sometimes they get debuffs. The only debuff right now is humility, but who knows, maybe someday in the future there will be more. I think the card is too weak as is. On average, you're going to get a 4/1, a 2/3, and then like 2 1/1s. And that's like, especially with no Silverhand recruit synergy right now. And we have Trickery of Gold, a mage 6 mana spell. Draw 3 cards. Any secrets drawn cost 0. Design 1 star. Balance 3 stars. So the problem with card cycles are that sometimes you run out of ideas, especially when you have stringent policies, because we have Skull of Gul'dan and Hand of Gul'dan right now. There's a theme of 6 and 3 on those cards. Okay, so it's a 6 mana spell. It probably needs to involve drawing 3 cards or something like that. So it needs some sort of advantage on the cards drawn, because 6 mana draw 3 is just perhaps not strong enough. And unfortunately, I feel like any secrets drawn cost 0 is a little bit too weak. The way to balance out this card is by lowering the mana cost, but you can't because it's a cycle of Gul'dan cards, and you need to keep the 6 mana cost. So it's a problem. It goes to show that cycles need to be somewhat flexible, and cycles perhaps need to not have as extremely hard-coded numbers. A Sesh Infesting a Demon. A rogue 7 mana 4/4 legendary with Battlecry. Summon all weapons from your deck and hand as minions and give them rush. It's just a big effect that people thought was cool is all I can think of. Design 1 star, balance 1 star. It seems like this card would fit most in a weapon themed set, perhaps. And then, even then, maybe you would put in a Sesh, but that's still so specific. Would you want to run so many bad rogue weapons just to have the chance to summoning them out with the 7 mana 4/4 that, you know, pulls them out of your deck? It seems really questionable. I don't think such a deck would ever work. And, you know, before I say ever, you would have to really specifically design a set around this, where for some reason you wanted to play a bunch of weapons in your rogue deck, even though there's an upper limit on the number of cards that are reasonable, that are weapons. It's very confusing. And the flavor is also very confusing. Why is a Sesh, you know, animating all of your weapons and causing them to be rushed? I don't know. Why did this card get voted up as one of the top 10 cards of that week? I also don't know. Arena Ghosts. 10 mana mage legendary, 4/12 dragon, Battlecry, make all other minions disappear. Shuffle 6 wing tricks into each player's deck. A wing trick is, for some reason, a 10 mana cast when drawn spell. 10 mana. Summon a random friendly minion that disappeared this game. Design 1 star, balance 1 star. It's a 10 mana card that's a board clear. It's like Deathwing, but, you know, you're left with a 4/12 dragon. But second of all, there's a random element to summoning back all disappeared minions, and then, you know, both players are just praying that they draw their wing trick before the opponent. Whoever gets more of them gets more of the minions that were removed. I know that mage is a Clown Fiesta class, but too far, buddy, too far. And the balance is like way out of whack. It's, you know, you can't have a board clear come with a 4/12 dragon, buddy. Leroy, the Adventurer. A 5 mana 6/2 legendary with Battlecry. If you've completed a quest this game, gain charge. Oh god. Design 1-star, balance 1-star, get it away from me. You realize they just removed Leroy into the Hall of Fame because they didn't want this effect, right? But furthermore, somehow we've made a Leroy even stronger than original Leroy because it doesn't have a downside. Well, yes, there is a downside. You have to complete a quest, but do you know how easy it is to complete a quest with the side quests out there? Did you think Toxic Reinforcements was really good? Well, how about after you complete your Toxic Reinforcements, you slam down this Leroy. This is just such an incredibly toxic card. I don't even want to touch it. If you were looking to design a Leroy card, probably the appropriate way to look at something would be a card that's like a 5-mana 6/2 with Rush to keep the spirit of the card and then change it up a bit. And it's time for the trump card of the week. It's Indomitable Creature, a Warlock 5-mana 4/7 with Lifesteal, Battlecry, attack a random friendly mini. Design 5 stars, balance 3 stars. The card at its best would be it comes into play, maybe kills one of your eggs or kills something with very low attack and health like a 1/1, and then basically comes into play and you gain 4. And then if your opponent can't kill you immediately, you attack and then you gain 4. But also, if you have no minion, that's really good. Just a 6-mana 4/7 lifesteal vanilla card. Actually more concerning though is that the card is so strong in its lifesteal that they basically have to kill it. Otherwise you gain 4 health each turn, which is an insane amount of health. It's for that reason that the balance seems a bit too strong right now. And I'm thinking that it should be 6 mana, and then I'm not entirely sure if it's still too strong then. This card can be compared to Ancestral Guardian from Paladin, which is a 4 mana 4/2 with Reborn and Lifesteal. But the big thing to remember for Paladin is that Paladin does not need Lifesteal nearly as much as Warlock. So when you compare the Ancestral Guardian to Indomitable Creature, you can see Indomitable Creature is really outclassing Ancestral Guardian. And it's in the class that really needs to be worried about giving too much lifesteal to, because if they had a good way to recover, Warlock would be crazy good. But I will give them this, the idea of a lifesteal card coming into play and like having the downside of attacking a random friendly minion is a clever one. So that catches us up, and I'm looking forward to reviewing cards that are custom created and have to do with Skullomance. See how those cards compare to the current cards as they get revealed as well.